All right, and good evening, everyone. We're live. We're just streaming. We got the Facebook connected, and we're letting folks into the waiting room here. And I know we'll be recording this as well as streaming it on social media. So really excited that those who are here in our Zoom are here to join us. And then I know folks will be watching at home and later on as we continue to move this forward. We're so excited. We are talking tonight. This is our third webinar this week, our fourth meeting, kicking off the DeKalb Green New Deal and our celebration here in DeKalb County of Earth Week. We've had a great list of panelists and speakers already talking about energy efficiency, clean energy, green jobs, sustainable housing, economic development, protecting our rivers and our forests. And today we're going to hone in a little bit more, talking about conservation and access to nature. And we're really, really excited because we have two amazing panelists and speakers who are representing really some great organizations. And I'll introduce them now. And first we have Jamie Rosenthal, who is the founder and CEO of Roots Down. I'll introduce him in just a minute here. And then Ms. Bradley, who's representing Greening Youth Foundation. Lesford Duncan and I were speaking about this, and he was so kind enough to have Ms. Bradley come on and share what the Greening Youth Foundation has been working on in Metro Atlanta. And we're really hoping that we're going to get a chance to partner with them here in DeKalb County over the next several years. So we'll welcome her in just a minute. But let me turn it over to Jamie Rosenthal and to kick us off because today this is our last panel webinar, and we'll be celebrating some Earth Day events tomorrow, and then Saturday is like the official Earth Day. There's all sorts of amazing things happening all over DeKalb County, all of our cities. I'm going to be in Avondale Estates. I'm at the Charm Center on Columbia Drive. I'm going to be in Decatur at the Decatur Square. I think I'm doing like 4 other things, and Miranda is going to be doing like 6 other things. So it's so exciting just to see the outpouring of support. I think between these webinars and the kickoff event, we've had almost 250 individuals who have signed up, joined, watched, become a Green New Deal volunteer and leader. And so we're just really excited to keep this train moving this week. So Jamie Rosenthal, founder CEO of Roots Down. A little bit of a preamble here. When I was mayor of the city of Clarkston, Jamie and I were able to work together on several projects in the city of Clarkston that I think really provided me a lot of an opportunity, just as a dumb elected official who didn't know anything about pollinator habitats or sustainable landscaping or just a lot of ecological aspects about really just how we care for our land in our cities. DeKalb County is an urban county. We were talking yesterday actually, about how only 2% of DeKalb County is left undeveloped. And that means just like there's no parking lot, there's no buildings on it. And so what we're really talking about, Jamie, and what we want you to focus on today is how do we kind of bring nature into this urban environment? And I know that the term that you coined and that we've been really pushing here in DeKalb County the last 2 years is this thing called productive urban landscapes, which I know you're going to get into very deeply. But I just want to say that we have to take an all of the above approach when it comes to this dual challenge of climate change and economic inequality. That is the core of what the DeKalb Green New Deal is about. And as I was saying earlier in the week, the Green New Deal as a movement is not just something that's AOC or Bernie Sanders or Ted Terry here in DeKalb County. It is people all over the country, all over the world who are coming together, finding common cause to address these dual challenges that in a lot of ways are existential crises for our people and our planet. And so we are taking the all of the above approach. We are looking at every way that we can tick down those carbon emissions, tick up access to nature, to land and food, and looking at a way to create a more healthier, happier, and sustainable DeKalb County and just ultimately society. And the big initiative that we worked on last year that we were just so excited that Roots Down was able to help us achieve is that we put forward a library, a fruitful libraries resolution that set aside funds in the budget to do a transition planning process for all 23 libraries in DeKalb County. Some of them are small, some of them are really big, have lots of land. And we passed that resolution, put it in the last year's mid-year budget, and hopefully any day now the RFP will go out to to get the planning process going, and to really start working with each of the Friends of Libraries groups to ask the question of how can we enhance the landscapes in a dual capacity to create sustainable landscape, support for our ecological systems, but also create learning spaces, and so really have that intersectionality of thinking about libraries not just as what's happening on the inside, but what's happening on the entire property. Because libraries are they're our libraries, they're the public's land. And sometimes we kind of just sort of mow and blow, right, Jamie? We do the hedges, and sometimes we've been trimming a privet tree, this entire time, and we didn't even realize it. And so what we're excited about is that hopefully, throughout this year and into next, we'll be really talking about this library transition plan, getting some good sustainable landscapes in place, and then doing the contracts. And this is like the secret in government, y'all, is getting the contracts to do the work that is a little bit different. And so what we hope after this process, that we develop a landscape transition plan, and then we develop a new paradigm for a more conscientious landscaping approach. And so that way we know that when we plant, whether they're, it's an edible landscape style or a pollinator habitat or just kind of all of the above sustainability, permaculture type landscaping, that we know it's not going to just disappear after a couple of years, right, Jamie? Jamie can talk about that, because if you plant something in the ground, you can't just be like, all right, we're done. We saved the earth, let's go home now. We have to make it part of our system. We have to make it part of a true pivot and transition to a more sustainable system. So without further ado, Jamie Rosenthal, let me bring you up on stage here. I know you have a few slides to share, and let's talk productive urban landscapes and the work that we've been doing over the last several years, and hopefully the work we have ahead for DeKalb County.
Exciting stuff. I could not be more proud of the work we have been able to achieve in DeKalb County. I think the models that we are building towards resiliency, we're going to be celebrating the Chambly Library. So 2 libraries in your district went through a full conversion. So they act as a really good model for how the transition plan is going to work. Changing over those landscapes means, well, it means one thing. I really want to point out something that you and I have talked about a lot. Changing over those libraries into productive urban landscapes is really only one part. It's one part of the equation. The biggest part of the equation, and our biggest mission in decarbonizing the landscaping industry and making it greener, is the maintenance. So the magic sauce, the thing that we really have been able to do, is a culture shift in changing how people maintain the landscape. No matter how beautiful, I was just talking to one of our board members, Andrea Greco, today, and we were talking about how frustrated people become that they put in these really great projects, and what happens to those really great projects over a couple years. And I will show an example before and after slide that will make you guys, ponder. But is what happens after a couple of years of traditional landscape maintenance is they get destroyed. So no matter how good we build that ecosystem, they're really only a couple years from being destroyed with bad maintenance practices. So it's a culture shift, and what we're trying to do in greening up this industry and helping transition this industry from where it's at right now, which is one of the heaviest polluting industries out there, to a new industry. I think these libraries are the thought leader, and DeKalb County leading and putting their foot forward it's huge. I mean, we, did some really big work. So really proud of that. I will show, I did pull up a slideshow that shows some of the projects we've been working on. Let me share my screen, and we'll discuss. I know you guys had Will on yesterday, and he was talking about cottages on Vaughn. Let me Let me go to full screen here. I'm sorry. I'm working with a computer that is as old as my child. Okay, so this is the future of landscaping, and I think that's one of the new things we've been talking about. I think the future of landscaping is going to have to meet the demands. The industry is changing, whether it's COVID that really kind of was a big tipping point, the millennials starting to move into properties. The market is going to have to meet the demand of the shifting, of this new shifting paradigm. We saw it as a agriculturist and as a farmer. I saw it in the food industry. I saw in 10 years, barely any organic food living in Jasper, Georgia. And I'm sure, Miranda, you probably remember, but living in Jasper, Georgia, going to Kroger, you couldn't find anything organic. Well, now it's like going to Jasper. I went to Kroger recently. There is so much organic food. So, and that, from a lot of the work that was done with all the advocacy work that was done, I think the future of landscaping is changing. The market demands are there. And I think that we're seeing this pivot happen really, really fast. And I think it's going to be exciting to see what's to come of it. So, sorry, guys. Computer's a little glitchy. So here's a case study. This is one of our pilot projects that we worked on in DeKalb County. This is the Cottages on Bond project. And this is a level 3. We actually certified their property level 3 certification. And what that means is huge. Will is a thought leader as well, and wanted this property to have no hardly any non-native species. They wanted to have a lot of edible species, small use of grass just in the landscape. So this whole landscape is a level 3 certification, and that goes from everything that it was installed to the way it's cared for by Abundance Landscapes, one of our partners. They're doing an amazing job keeping up this space. Now what you're looking at here with those chairs, there is a pocket of grass, and it is a low maintenance fescue grass that's actually mowed by the HOA, one of the board members, with a real mower, like a literal push mower. It takes about 10 minutes a week to do. So there's no gas power being used on this property. I think it's a huge win for DeKalb County, again, as a model for new developments and how developers can actually play a huge part in sustainability. Here's some of the images from what this looks like. And as you can see, this landscape incorporates a lot of pollinator habitat, native species, edible species, and things that build the soil, which is really important. And I will switch through. I want to share this slide. If you guys can see the bottom slide here, this is talking a little bit more about some of the maintenance issues that actually cause a lot of problems with the landscapes. Well, this is the Toco Hills Library. This was planted about 3.5 years ago. And one of the designers is one of our board members. She designed the library to be all sustainable. It's actually a really awesome library. It's got permeable pavers. It is a beautiful building that is like solar passive. It's really a state-of-the-art building. The landscape met that demand. They planted all native species. Well, if you guys can see, I will try to zoom. Let me see if I can zoom in. Well, I can't. But the before pictures on the left, that was how it was installed. The after picture down here on the bottom right was how it was maintained over time, brought right back to being just grass. We've started working with that library, and we added a ton. We added about 15 blueberries and some pollinator species in that island to build it back. But yeah, bad maintenance brings about bad ecological issues in our landscapes, for sure. And again, I think what our issue that we really are facing with the landscaping industry is I think the possibility. The problem is really the possibility here. It's a $120 billion industry. And what are we getting for $120 billion? Well, we're getting more of atmospheric carbon. We're getting more flooding, more soil erosion, more polluted waterways, increased rates of asthma, and health issues. And I don't think a lot of people talk about that, but we have been doing studies. We're going to be partnering with GreenLink, and we've been talking to them about studies done on health. The health for the average landscaper is seriously diminished by the use of gasoline blowers and leaf blowers and gasoline 2-cycle and 4-cycle equipment. So I think that's really, really important to think about. There are, for every piece of machinery that has worked in the industry, there's an actual person sitting right next to that machinery. So there is a lot of cases where people are getting sick from using this equipment. So there's a lot of noise pollution and biodiversity loss, which I talk a lot about with productive urban landscapes. We're adding back all that loss of biodiversity, which is really important, to support our native pollinator habitats. It also is, they're low-paying jobs. So we want to really, as we're doing this culture shift, we want to increase the wages for people that work in this industry. Our mission, like we have talked about, is to provide education, certification, and consultation. We work with governments, we work with HOAs, developers, to help them transition their libraries, to help them transition their landscaping over to more productive urban landscapes and more into the sustainability paradigm. As I said, I don't know, there wasn't a whole lot more before and after slides, so I'll stop sharing my screen there. I think you guys can get the point, but yeah, so I really, really want to begin to help people understand that a lot of our environmental issues that we have in our society, that we think about as we think about soil loss and we think about biodiversity loss, a lot of people, especially youth, are worried and are climate anxious. And they think about it as a global issue. And it's happening in the rainforest. We're stripping the rainforest for our sugar, for our coffee. Well, I hate to tell you that if we're not building resilient models to be modeled after, good, healthy, climate resilient models here in our backyards, then there's really no hope for people to understand the large issue. Because every day we wake up and we see our backyards and our front yards, but we don't see, we have, not many of us have had the opportunity to go and visit the rainforest and see what actual degradation looks like. But I would argue it's actually happening right here in our backyards. So there's a lot of really great things we can do to improve our health and well-being and build more resilient climate action right here with the landscaping industry.
That's right, Jamie. And our theme, of course, is like that old bumper sticker that we've been around for years. Think globally, act locally. And it is true. I have never been to the rainforest, but I have seen Hazen Audell barefoot traveling through the rainforest on National Geographic Channel. So you can get a taste right there if you just watch that the Nat Geo channel. But the point is taken because and we had a little survey response poll during the Monday session, and Miranda, I think like the top words were like anxious, angry, fearful about climate change. And certainly, and it wasn't like necessarily like a very young audience. We had like, sort of all ages, but I would say like you get a room full of young people, and I speak to schools, and whether it's elementary, middle, or high school all the time. This is like the top issue that comes up over and over again. They say, Commissioner, what are you doing about climate change? What are you doing to protect the South River Forest? What are you doing to make our air cleaner and our water cleaner? And, of course, I'm like, oh my God, there's so much to do. There's so much to do. But what you're proposing, Jamie, is part of the solution, because how much money do we spend on this? We're already spending so much money. And actually, I just had a meeting. I'll just share with you. I had a meeting today with the administration because we've been talking about how the county spends a lot of money. Like we're talking about millions of dollars a year on mowing and blowing. Okay. Now, the good news, we shared this on Monday night, that we are going to be buying 90 electric vehicles this year for our DeKalb County fleet, including several Ford F-150 Lightning electric pickup trucks. And we have a handshake agreement from the Parks Department that their goal this year is to institute the first electric only work crew for a electric, blowers, and I'm not sure about mowers, but we'll look at mowers, but basically have like an electric crew that can do all their blowing with the electric leaf blower. And then we're going to try out sort of that with the east crew, the east maintenance lot crew and park sort of maintenance system. And so we're seeing the changes. We're seeing the adoption of the bureaucracy of the system saying, well, is this really working? Now, you brought up a really good point. I want to hone in on something you said about the workers. I do think that the issue of landscaper, rights and workers' rights, I think, is something that kind of gets missed here because, while we were working on the library resolution, we were also last year working on an ordinance that would phase out gas leaf blowers in our neighborhoods and incentivize a transition to electric leaf blowers, which are quieter, less, just, sort of a, nuisance, but also much cleaner. And we lost that fight at the Capitol because they literally passed a law prohibiting local governments from regulating gas leaf blowers different than electric leaf blowers. They're being clever with the law, basically saying, well, you can do whatever you want, you just can't treat the blowers differently, even though, as you pointed out, Jamie, they're louder, they're more polluting, there's vibration. I mean, all these things that sort of make the user experience of someone who has to do this 8, 9, 12 hours a day is incredibly destructive. And we literally had no centering of the workers by the legislators during this. All they could say was, you're going to put people out of business. You're going to put small business owners out of business. Now, keep in mind that our plan, DeKalb, was a 5-year transition. So the fact that if anyone, let's be honest, an incentive-based program to help small businesses with cash trade in their old blowers and get electric leaf blowers, right? A 5-year transition. And even then we're not necessarily punishing people. We're just encouraging them. And so the legislators had a different approach. They said, well, we just don't think that, you should be doing this. And unfortunately they passed that law. So we are going back to the drawing board in the sense that we're just getting rid of the transition of the gas leaf blowers, and instead we're going to have the incentive program. We're going to have a cash incentive program for small business landscape companies based in DeKalb, as well as homeowners who want to switch. We're going to be partnering hopefully with Charm, the Center for Hard to Recycle Materials, to help actually, drop off their old gas leaf blower and, make sure it gets recycled into the right, systems. And so, to your point, Jamie, what is, aside from just what the government can do and some of these regulations, I mean, there's got to be some landscape companies out there that are doing things differently, right? We just need more people asking for this type of landscape?
I want to point to something that I think we should also celebrate. So with the 2 models we built in DeKalb County, right? DeKalb County Facilities has taken this so well. They took the growers program. They want to make that transition. And guess what? The vendor Artscape that we've been working with is a huge fan of helping themselves transition to electric equipment. And tomorrow we will be demoing, we'll have Crest, which is one of our new partners. They are a commercial, they have a prosumer line and they also have a commercial line. Wait till you use their equipment. I want to put you on some of their equipment tomorrow, Commissioner, because it blows the competition out of the water. I have not used equipment that feels as good as this ever, even commercial equipment. It's ergonomic, it feels good, it's powerful. I couldn't believe how powerful the backpack blower. It's a backpack blower, but it's battery powered. How long it lasts. It's happening, and it's going to be one of those things. The transition is going to happen because the market is going to demand it so. And with these incentives, I think we just incentivize it and we educate. And I think by incentivizing and educating the industry, they're going to move towards this new technology. I promise you. And if we can take a whole facilities management team and get them onboarded and get them to love every bit of it, I think we're doing really great work. So
Yeah, that's really exciting. All right, am I coming to that event tomorrow? Or am I going to get a chance to try out that electric leaf blower?
well, you're invited. We're doing a tree planting at the Chambly Library. We converted the whole
Okay.
library to a no-mow
Yeah.
library, and thanks to the ARPA funds and your dollars. So that was put into play, and we're going to have a lot of demonstrations tomorrow. We have power equipment coming out, Crest is coming out, and also Power Planter, which is an auger, an all-electric auger. I've been so excited. We planted over 200 trees and bushes the last few days.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, I just checked my calendar. I will be there at 10 o'clock in the morning. So it's 10 a.m. to about 12, I guess, at the Chambly Library, 4115 Claremont Road. And either Miranda or Jamie put that in the chat there, just so folks can know about it, and we'll make sure to send that out. But that's really exciting. I mean, that's a really great example. And Donna Davis on the Q&A was asking, sort of that exact question of what other companies are out there. And then I think you also answer kind of like what I was thinking is like, what are the implements, the lawn care implements that are out there that are the all electric, and it's clear that the technology is really catching up. I would argue that the technology caught up because governments were saying and neighbors were saying we need a better option, and that's kind of like this is my philosophical approach to politics is that some folks say, well, the free market will decide. But when major cities and like even states were saying that we don't want polluting, noisy, fossil fuel driven gas leaf blowers anymore because they're part of climate change, the industry said, holy crap, like we're going to be losing millions of customers. We probably should invest a little more money in this research. And voila, you got, whether it's the German companies or the Crests, out there, there's some competition. So, all right. So you're going to say I'm going to get a chance to try out that electric leaf blower?
You're going to get a chance to try out the electric leaf blower, the auger, which we planted 100 trees without changing the battery on.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
nice.
You're going to be blown away, literally and figuratively tomorrow.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. All right. Very good. All right. Well, let me let's pause here, and I'm going to welcome up Ms. Bradley from the Greening Youth Foundation. And I'm not sure if you have slides or not, Ms. Bradley, but if not, it's okay. We can just kind of go off the cuff here. But we really wanted to invite. We had a great conversation with your CEO, Les Dunford, Duncan, and I've known about y'all's work for many years, and I know a lot about the things you've done in Atlanta, and I'm really hoping that we're going to be able to work with y'all in DeKalb over the next several years with all of the Inflation Reduction Act funds that are coming down. I think there's just so many great partnerships, and so we wanted to have y'all on here to talk about what the Greening Youth Foundation does, what opportunities there are for folks to get involved, and then just kind of what y'all are thinking about doing and getting into the next the next year as we move forward in this more sustainable future.
Definitely. So thank you, Commissioner Terry, for the invite. Glesford Duncan is a new CEO, so he's traveling and spreading the word of GYF. But long before he was here, 17 years ago, our founder, Angelou Ezulo, was in her Earth Day program in Gwinnett County with her son, and she realized it really wasn't that great. And some of the schools didn't even have any in her son's classroom. It was actually subpar. So out of that one thought to improve our Earth Day program 17 years ago, an organization started. So it started in the environmental education realm, and it really was just K through 12. But in the spirit of workforce development and speaking to some federal partners, we got connected with the National Park Service. So just a little bit of background for me is long before I was Shatiba Bradley, the director of programs North America for GYF, I was a park ranger. So I started my career in the Great Smokies, moving on to the Boston National Historic Site. So I told the story of Paul Revere, and then eventually moving on down to the Abolitionist Site, which is an African-American site, moving to Atlanta, working at Dr. King's site, becoming red carded, traveling, doing wildfires, and then the federal government shut down. So for me, very interested in working with nature and national parks. I grew up in Aiken, South Carolina, so environmental education is really big there because they have the Savannah River site. So my interest is always the great outdoors. How could I continuously push the needle forward, helping to expose careers in conservation to diverse, maybe underserved youth? So that's where my personal story collides with GYF's story. So back to their story. So 17 years ago, that environmental education class was started, grew into the federal workforce, and to date, we have sent thousands of students into careers in conservation, particularly on the national level, the National Park Service. So we have students in all 50 states. For the Forest Service, we have a program called RAP every single year. RAP is for 100 new students, where we send them to national forests, we pay them, we house them, we provide travel stipends, we provide professional development. So those are two of our largest partnerships that we have on the national level and also on the local level, whether that's the Atlanta Audubon Society. We have a 3.5 acre farm in the west side of Atlanta where we're teaching students how to properly care for trees through a Georgia Power funded program. So we're excited about workforce development. We're always excited about youth programs. We're in Atlanta, so of course this is a year of youth. So we're partnering up with all the municipalities to make sure that the crime rates that we see on television locally, somehow as a nonprofit, how can we combat that? And of course, we don't get on the front lines, but we're always behind the scenes. So for us, the answer is youth programs, whether that's crime reduction, whether that's climate awareness, whether that's pH sampling. We want to teach students there are alternative roads to life other than the traditional route. So the past left travel is kind of where Green Youth sits, and also is a great time to be here in history. Some of Biden's initiatives spoke directly to workforce development. The 21st Amendment, the 21st Next Gen, I believe is what is called earmark funding, speaks to green infrastructure and a lot of things that we're talking about, workforce development. So a lot of the funding that Green Youth manages and is a steward for is federally funded. So we know that 40% of the workforce, the federal workforce, is retiring. The baby boomers are moving out. So of course, it's not by accident that a lot of these national programs have very large workforce development initiatives. So that's kind of how we sit in the middle of conservation and workforce development. We are based out of Atlanta. We're mostly remote. We recently kicked off our Africa sector of our organization. So we realized that Nigeria has the largest group of 18 to 24-year-olds in the world. So of course, the same idea, of course, we're taking that to the largest demographics that we could find, which is in Nigeria. So our founder's husband is from there. So we felt like it was very appropriate because generally speaking, whenever you have youth, you have crime, you have opportunity. And opportunity is to teach about conservation. How can we take people and put them outside, which is, you guys have heard kind of my spiel of who I am. That's kind of where I got my start from, rural America. Everyone doesn't start in Atlanta, but as you guys know, most people, somewhere through their career, you make your way here. So for me, it was Dr. King's house. I was there to protect, preserve, and tell the story for future generations. But through that trajectory, I moved on the other side. So we're invested in all youth programs and also anything that has anything to do with reducing our carbon footprint. So thank you again. I just want to give a little spiel on our organization, but have any questions, I'm here.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ms. Bradley. And we'll definitely take any questions from the audience or our panelists, as well. Feel free to use that tab. But I wanted to, kind of hone in. One, that was really interesting about Nigeria and the work you're doing in Africa. I definitely want to come back and talk more about that because I think that would just be interesting to know about, because I do really want to just remind everyone that there is work happening around the world. Because it's just, you can't just have one little thing over here, one thing over there. We all have to join together in common cause. And so that's really exciting that you're doing that work, and what a great opportunity for the largest group of 18-year-olds in the world. That's like the greatest opportunity, but also a lot of people, parents are like, oh my God. What a great opportunity. But can you speak up, maybe just, I'm curious about I know on one of the programs that you do is the gifted pre-care management training program. And I found that to be really fascinating because we've been talking a lot about the South River Forest and the police training side and the land swap and all these things happening in Southwest Atlanta or Southwest DeKalb, South Atlanta. And there's just a lot of forests down there. And so is that training program about I guess it's about nature stewards,
Yes.
supporting, I guess the forest and trees. But can you speak a little bit more about what kind of the program is?
Yes. So the program essentially is what we realized most of our programs were more geared to college students. So we wanted a program that was very heavy in trade. So they're learning about whether it's using mowers or all the things you just talked about, whether it's a zero turn lawnmower. So we want to make sure that just because students aren't going to college, they still can build trades. So we partnered up with Georgia Power in Gunnison. So for 7 weeks, we take the students to a training facility and they learn about all the different, whether it's arborists, whether native species, whether how to cut plants, how often do you cut them, water in sequence. So they're learning a lot of skills through the professionals in this field. And then we bring them back and we do professional development, how to make a resume, where are your jobs how do you apply for a job? So we're doing a lot of coaching. So there is a mentoring element. We want to make sure they know about credit. So we do a financial literacy where we're talking about student loan, which is the largest debt for most people in this demographics. So we talk about credit card debt. We talk about, so we want to make sure our programs aren't just jobs. So we're filling those with those development series. So the tree care program is actually in the 6th week for this cohort. We run about 3 a year. We recruit heavily for second promise programs. So sometimes students have had some type of law enforcement interaction, but we want to make sure that we're giving them opportunities that they not only can come on and have a program, but also there's permanent jobs. So those are the partnerships that they leave out of this program permanent. So we also work with, I want to say the Georgia Audubon Society. So we have them going out, learning about the species and also the developmental side. So I would say 50-50. There's a lot of earth. So we build compost. Yesterday I was over there, we just received our queen. So they're learning about bees. We have professional beekeepers come and teach them. So most of them never knew, and now they're experts are telling me about, all the great things about bees. So pretty cool that we're running it, and it's right there in the West End, off of Abernathy.
Very cool. Very
Yep.
cool. Yeah, and it's interesting. I was just with Commissioner Lorraine Cochran Johnson today, and she announced her egg candling class at her youth
wow.
farm. But I know that they plan to do beekeeping and more
Mhm.
urban farming. And I think is urban farming kind of part of the curriculum? Is that something that y'all also work on as well?
Yes, so we have similar to our early origins of our organization. We're going to Gwinnett County and teaching kids. So we do the same thing doing summer camp. So we'll take about probably 6 to 10 students or young students, kids out twice a week. We go to Arabian Mountains. So we partner up with most of the local parks in Atlanta. We take them out and provide food. And really it's just the parents get to drop them off. So kind of like a little pseudo daycare where you get to learn. So we give them all pH sampling kits. We have an alkaline water. So they get to test that. And which next question is, what is alkaline water? What is, so a lot of that going on. So the summer camp is that part. We call it the green box, where they'll come out and do camp for 2 months.
Very
All
cool.
free.
Very cool.
Yep.
And of course, we love Arabian Mountain because that's in
Mhm.
DeKalb County. And I know we got
Yes.
Mr. Kelly Jordan in the audience here, and he was a big part of helping preserve, that national treasure, that national preservation area. So really appreciate Kelly Jordan, and it's so great that y'all are able to go out there and enjoy that amenity. And it's interesting because we've been talking lately about expanding our park naturalist program. I don't know if you know Robbie Astrove, who's our park naturalist for Arabian Mountain, and we have 2 more, Ranger Jonah and then Ranger Jennifer. And we're hoping to get one for the Southwest area parks of DeKalb as well. And, to me, I just, we talk about green jobs and, that sustainability. And I think a lot of what you're doing is preparing the youth to think about going into that career.
Definitely.
And what I want to do, and what we want to do with the DeKalb Green New Deal is to create that sustainable job, sort of category and future, this new green economy, because the county investing in these positions and these these park and green spaces and having those jobs available and expanding that portfolio. One is just good for our parks, it's good for our people, it's good for programming and access to nature. But then also we've got an opportunity for young people coming up to work in the industry
Definitely.
and to create that green job sector. So this is like a really exciting, because we don't want to. I always get worried about like how we don't want to train people into something that, well, there's not really something on the end of that. And so I think this is for policymakers and elected officials. We need to be really concerted when we say green jobs and green job training. We can't just be like, oh yeah, we'll just get some training and then go good luck. We need to put our money where our mouth is and create those programs that are going to be sustainable.
I mean, even on the construction side, I live downtown, and just driving through the city and seeing all the cranes, and then going back and thinking, are these buildings being lead certified? So there's a whole system, of, as you guys know, with platinum series, that buildings or owners are getting points for how sustainable, how they're reducing their carbon footprint. So we know on the developer side, there's interest, which means on the bottom tier of the construction worker, there is a need to have people to build infrastructure that is sustainable. As we know, we're in a country with aging bridges. So a lot of our country is aging. That's $1 billion topic, but you have to have people who know what they're doing. And that's just not something you can just come off the street learning how to build a lead platinum certified $1 billion business or building. So, I always refer to Georgia Tech. They have a great building that's, running at zero. So the carbon
the Candida building. Yeah, the living building, right?
The living building. So you think about it, someone had to build that. So I realized there are jobs behind this. And most of the time, diverse students are the ones last to the table. So our role in this conversation is to keep abreast of what are the trends in sustainability and make sure that the programs are in place so students can not only work on these projects, but at the end of the table, make sure that they have jobs at the table. So hopefully, as these conversations continue, we know that there's only more and more funding going to be put behind green infrastructure, green landscaping. We've heard about lawn care with the mower. So we're really at a base level. We just want to make sure that when history is told and we're, senior citizens, we're gone, we did our part to make sure that there's still some diversity, and there's always work to be done. So we just want to make sure that this is an inclusive movement, and hopefully the green movement is for everyone.
Absolutely. And I think that's really important. And, we're really reflecting in our DeKalb Green New Deal the principles of the Green New Deal, of the Inflation Reduction Act, of the Biden administration, because there's the Justice 40 initiative is the big framework coming out of those billions of dollars. And we announced on Monday, and we introduced on our DeKalb Board of Commission agenda on Tuesday, $100,000 investment seed money just to get the Green New Deal fund going. And it is following the exact same principles of what we've been talking about. Justice 40, for at least 40%, but I really expect that we're going to spend more than that. But at least 40% has to go towards these type of programs, training in the areas where we already know folks have been on the front lines and fence lines of environmental degradation and pollution, economic inequality, segregation, racism. And so, we've been really focused a lot on the South River Forest area, the South River that goes through all, from East Point through Atlanta, through Entrenchment Creek, all the way to the South River, and just that amazing watershed that, really has been forgotten over, many, many decades. But because of the work of Dr. Jackie Eccles and so many other environmental organizations, we're bringing it back to the forefront. And hopefully it's something that, when we look back, 10, 15 years from now, we can look at these, what have been categorized as impaired creeks and endangered rivers. And we can, like you talk about the water quality testing, right? What a great opportunity to say, like, here's where we're at now. We know that there's pollution going into those rivers, and what can we do to reduce the pollution runoff, to restore the stream banks, to control erosion, and to really bring back those creeks and water systems back to life. And what a great goal it would be to get Entrenchment Creek off the impaired creek list that the state EPD has had us on there for like 15 years. And what a great thing to say, the South River, used to be one of the most endangered rivers in America, but now we brought it back to life. And those one of our guiding, North Stars is to see that those areas that have been so impacted and polluted and dumped on for so many years can actually be reclaimed, and to have the opportunity for whether it's those who are living in the neighborhood or going to the school systems there can be a part of that transition and do it in an equitable and sustainable economic way.
I think speaking on that, Atlantic Station is the best example. I mean, it was a brownfield. I don't know if you guys remember before Atlantic Station was Atlantic Station, it was just an eye store, no different from Highland Avenue coming down the hill with Char and a lot of those cool places. That was another little eyesore. So I think there's always great when cities and municipalities can get together and save what could have just been a landfill and reinvent it. We just hope that it doesn't come at the, at the excuse or at the rate where people are affected and, disenfranchised, but hopefully, there's always room for improvement, especially when it comes to our green space. So I would love, of course, to hopefully just this movement is going to get larger. We know that our programs are summer-based, most of them. So as you know, students are looking for jobs. So shameless plug, but if you know students that are in college, definitely send them to our website. We are always looking for great students to work for the Forest Service, the National Park Service. We've partnered up with Robert Smith, which has an InternX program. Essentially, it's a way to get into tech careers through cultural resources. So they've teamed up. So Robert Smith is a billionaire who's partnered up with us for a program called InternX. So we just love to help students. We're engaging thousands of students over the last 17 years. So speaking directly to global warming, we also have an international program. I was in Manila a few months ago, so they're doing work. And it's just phenomenal to see all the work that people do just for the sake of the environment. So whether it's some of our larger programs or smaller programs at Mammoth Cave, where we're taking people in caves, we're in it and we're invested. So whether that's, we have projects at the Golden Gate Bridge, we've had projects at the Statue of Liberty. We have students in the Everglades studying Burmese pythons. So we love, so very diverse, to say a smaller organization based off of Edgewood Avenue. But we love youth programs in the environment. So anyone that's looking for someone, I'll definitely send them our way.
Absolutely. And we'll be sure to share the links out with everyone who've attended over the last several days and continue to promote. And then I know we got to circle back around with Les to talk about some funding, because we want to get some of the same programs going in DeKalb and working with our DeKalb Green New Deal fund. So like I said, we get the money where our mouth is. We put $100,000 on the barrelhead, and we know that there's more coming through all these programs we're talking about. So really looking forward to partnering with you, Ms. Bradley and Les and the Greening Youth Foundation. Thank y'all so much just for everything that y'all do. And thank you for being here. Awesome. All right, cool. Well, let me just turn it over to, and I don't know if we have any other questions or not, but we'll put the Greening Youth Foundation website there. And Miranda, why don't you just go ahead and bring us on home, talk about just a recap here of how folks can get involved, and then what's coming up tomorrow and Saturday. And then, we'll send everyone home and wish them a good night.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you to our guest speakers, and thank you everyone again for joining, whether you joined for this session or started on Monday and we're here for the whole webinar. Again, thank you so much. If you have been with us this whole time, you have maybe already heard the spiel of our primary call to action is to fill out our form. This is how we're going to be able to follow up with you and be in touch, hear about the work that you're already doing, the work that you want to do, and ultimately your vision for what the DeKalb Green New Deal is. It's a people-powered movement, and so your input is incredibly important. Like I mentioned, if you've heard this and filled out the form, please feel free to share with your friends or your neighbors that are also expressing interest in similar environmental work, climate action. Please feel free, again, to just share this out with others that you're already working with and who would be maybe interested in getting involved. This has also been our last webinar of the week. So thank you so much again for joining us. There are a lot of Earth Week or Earth Day events happening on Friday and Saturday, actual Earth Day. As you can see, DeKalb County has one tomorrow, as well as we dropped in the chat, Roots Down is doing an event at Chamblee Library. There are events happening all over the county on Saturday, from Doraville to some parks, to Chamblee, Stonecrest, Decatur, Avondale. We encourage y'all to really get involved and get out there. A lot of them seem to be stream restoration or park cleanup or tree planting. So if you have, heard all of the climate action and policy talk for this week, and want to get your hands dirty cleaning up or planting trees, feel free to check out any of those opportunities, or maybe even Google your local park and see if they have any Earth Day events. Please feel free to follow us at Commissioner Ted Terry. By us, I mean Commissioner Ted Terry in his office. His email is also up there, as well as his phone number. And for any scheduling, you can email his chief of staff, Kelly Cato. Her email is here as well. If you fill out the form, you'll be hearing from me. So if you are interested in getting more involved, please, reach out to us or fill out the form that we mentioned. Thank you so much for coming.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. We'll see you on Friday and Saturday for Earth Day. Have a good night.